sometimes they kind of pop out of nowhere, but most of the time I've got no sign of them on my receiver at all. But then again, as I say, they can just pop out, so it's not as if I've got a problem with receive. Whatever it is that changes atmospherically is what brings them in. So really something quite strange going on here, which I haven't been able to figure out quite yet, but you know, not to worry, it's not causing any real problem. But yeah, certainly 80 metres, considering what it has been over the past couple of years or so, it definitely does seem to be improving. I don't know. And 40 as well. I've been hearing a lot of UK stations on 40, and they've been very, very strong. So hopefully we'll get that band for most of the day very soon. I didn't get your name, so I'd appreciate that on your next over, please. M0KWR, G0BBI, over.
G0BBI and 0KWR. Yeah, the name's Kent, Kilo Echo November Tango. And I'm 6 miles west of Peterborough. That might jog your memory now, right next to the Nene Valley Railway.
Mervyn from M1PBC.
And G3YJO, just checking the 53 set again, seems to be okay, but good morning, Paul, hope you're feeling okay. Thanks for running the net, Mervyn.
Yeah, it's okay. Thanks both for the reports. And you're both coming in 5 and 9 with me at the moment, and the 53 set is going fine now, Martin, so we all get these little gremlins now and again. Anyway, I'm going to queue us way to the kitchen now and have a brew. 7 to you all, have a nice weekend. GW8TBG now clear.
Yep, thanks Marvin, M1PBC back. G3YJO. Yes, I've just caught that you had troubles with the 53 margin, so what went wrong? It's obviously fixed now because it's sounding good. Back to you from M1PBC.
M1PBC, G3YJO. Well, it was a bit worrying because the lights flickered, and the 53 set sort of faded away, and I thought, my goodness, if it explodes, you know, I'm a bit too close to it for comfort. But the trick was actually to give it a kick and then discover that there was a loose connection, and then have a look around and discover that the connector that connects the power supply to the modulator and the RF unit actually just carries the mains up there to the next sections. had somehow worked a bit loose, so when I pushed that in it was all fine, so a bit worrying for a moment, but it turned out to be nothing. And but what was interesting is that when this happened, I immediately switched on the 62, which has direct filament heaters and comes up in 10 seconds or something. So I was able actually to switch on the 62 set and come back on that within probably 15 seconds or something of it happening. So that was sort of interesting. But anyway, so panic over. M1PVC, G3YJO.
G3YJO, M1PVC. Well, 20 over 9, so no problem. No problem copying at all. And the technical kick, yes. I must admit, before I do anything with my rigs, I do apply the kick or the thump. It's amazing how many times that works. But I'm on the DX-100 and listening on the HRO-400. I put that on the bench yesterday, Martin, because as I said, about 140k up, so that the dial calibrations no longer made any sense, but with a great deal of checking, because it's triple conversion, I worked out that it was the Wadley loop synthesizer that was wrong, and basically there's a 500k crystal in there, which is the master oscillator which stabilizes everything. And that had ceased to work. I found that when I pulled the crystal out and then followed it, putting the crystal back and pulled the transistor out, to find that both times it made absolutely no difference to the received frequency, and yet the phase left loop light wasn't illuminating, showing that it was out of loop. So very confusing. It was a silly ceramic 0.1 disc capacitor that had gone short circuit and was taking the collector of the that oscillator transistor down to the deck, so voltage checks showed that that was probably the cause. Problem was getting to the thing, because it's in the most inaccessible place in the receiver, and I could only do it with a mirror and a bright torch and a pair of medical forceps. I managed to remove the capacitor physically and brutally, and then put it back elsewhere where it was easier to mount it in the same configuration. So that's all working and seems to be receiving you, and the dial calibrations now are well within a very small smidgen of what they should be. So there you go. So done that, and had to have a flu jab this morning, so that's where I've been. And we did a bit of shopping afterwards, so I just come back, and I was surprised that the net was still going on, so I just joined in the end there. And sounds as though it was quite a large and successful net. So back to you, Martin. Apologies for the long over. G3YJO M1PVC.
M1PVC G3YJO. I've just switched to low power on the 53, so I'd be interested to see what difference that makes, if anything, to particularly to the modulation, because it may be that I'm not quite sure what happens. I reduced the HT basically, so I don't know what happens to the modulator setup as well. But it'd be interesting to see if you notice any appreciable difference. But yeah, all noted. Well, I hope the flu jab, but last time I had the flu jab, I got flu 2 days later, which didn't impress me. Maybe it wasn't the last time, it was the time before last. But mine's due up, so I need to go and grab that sometime. I think last year it did seem to be effective, but of course you never know whether it works, because you don't have a proper control. But there we go. Anyway, I think it's all worth having. Okay, on your medical interventions on the radio, on the receiver. Yeah, that sounds very fiddly. Yeah, those sort of things are really are very tricky to do if you've got to work sort of underneath and with mirrors and the like. That's one of the good things about the majority of the green sets, is that things are reasonably accessible. I mean, a few of them tend to get in a bit of a jumble, but it's not usually packed in quite so tightly. It was a good net indeed. Yeah, well, I filled up a whole page of small notepad page of call signs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, there must be about 20 or so. So it was pretty good, and conditions were excellent. So not so bad. And let me see what else. Nothing much else other than the panic over the 53. So going to put it back to you and just see if you. What's all I'll do? I'll tap the carrier and then go back onto high power, and then you can compare the difference more directly. Just stand by. Right, that's on so-called high power. So I would be interested to see, looking at the modulation. Actually, it does seem probably that there's a bit more modulation on low power. But anyway, over to you and see what you make of it. M1PVC G3YJO.
G3YJO M1PVC. Right. Well, bearing in mind I haven't got the Perseus on, which would have been the ultimate test. The HRO 500 says there's a 10 dB difference between high and low power that I'm measuring, and the meter's quite accurate. And, well, modulation-wise, as far as the HRO goes, no significant difference. Probably slightly stronger on the lower power, as indeed is Alan's 53. That is more noticeable. Because it hasn't got the, well, I was going to say the bells and whistles of yours. Let's say the modern intervention of power supply tweaks, etc. But certainly, as far as the HRO goes, unless I was looking at the S meter, I really wouldn't have noticed a difference. It was pretty seamless as far as the audio went. I'm listening 8K wide on the filters. And the rejection tone is just right now that makes a slight difference usually on the audio. But no, I wouldn't worry, Martin. In the future, when I've got the Perseus on, I can give you a more accurate report, but I don't think there's anything untoward there. As I say, this HRO is not synchronous detection, so it's a fairly, well, in fact, it's a brilliant